the most entertaining things I've seen is Todd, you telling the story of your former partner saying that y'all had a relationship.
I'm talking about an affair period, betrayal period, because the moment you think it can't happen to you is when it does.
Reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley will serve lengthy prison terms for their fraud convictions. A federal judge in Atlanta sentenced Todd Chrisley to 12 years in prison yesterday.
After months behind bars, Todd Chrisley isn't just talking about life in prison. He's confirming the whispers that have followed him for years.
This is someone who literally was in our will if something happened to me and Julie in a car accident or a plane or whatever.
The whispers about a secret gay lover. But here's the twist. The way he finally admitted it feels less like a confession and more like damage control.
He was stealing from us the entire time. And so when we found that out, and what the world doesn't know is that I slapped the shit out of him right there in the office.
So the real question is, was this a love story hidden in the shadows, or a scandal he couldn't cover up any longer? Let's find out. The Chrisley clan, once paraded as America's picture-perfect reality TV family on Chrisley Knows Best, have proven time and time again that their lives are anything but wholesome. Todd Chrisley and his wife Julie went from red carpets to mugshots when, back in August 2019, they were slapped with a jaw-dropping 12-count federal indictment, conspiracy to commit bank fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion, the whole dirty laundry list. A jury wasted no time finding them guilty on every single charge. Prosecutors didn't just accuse the Chrisleys of cooking the books. They claimed the family's fraud spree kicked off in the mid-2000s, ballooning into nearly $2 million in unpaid state taxes between 2008 and 2016, and more than $1 million allegedly hidden from the IRS.
They were stars of their own reality show, Chrisley Knows Best, but now they're headed to prison.
But the day before the bombshell indictment dropped, Todd Chrisley was already spinning his own version of events. Instead of admitting fault, he threw a trusted employee under the bus, accusing them of stealing, blackmailing, and setting him up. Todd doubled down in a fiery Instagram post, insisting, "We have nothing to hide and nothing to be ashamed of." He even claimed to have a ton of hard evidence and a bunch of corroborating witnesses that would supposedly clear his name. The problem? Prosecutors clearly weren't buying it, and critics say Todd's blame the employee excuse sounds more like a reality TV plot twist than a legal defense. It wasn't until 3 years later that the Chrisley Knows Best stars went to trial. Following 3 weeks of testimonies, the pair, who had pleaded not guilty, were convicted on all counts of tax evasion and bank fraud on June 7, 2022.
Reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley will serve lengthy prison terms for their fraud convictions. A federal judge in Atlanta sentenced Todd Chrisley to 12 years in prison yesterday, while his wife Julie got 7 years behind bars.
The U.S. Attorney's Office had alleged the duo and their accountant, Peter Tarantino, who stood trial with them, conspired to defraud banks out of more than $30 million over the course of a decade. As today's outcome shows, when you lie, cheat, and steal, justice is blind as to your fame, your fortune, and your position. Carrie Farley, special agent in charge of FBI Atlanta, said in a June 2022 statement. In the end, when driven by greed, the verdict of guilty on all counts for these 3 defendants proves once again that financial crimes do not pay. 5 months later, the hammer finally dropped. The Northern District of Georgia handed Todd a 12-year prison sentence and Julie 7 years, while their co-conspirator Peter got 3 years. Federal prosecutors didn't hold back. Over the course of a decade, the defendants defrauded banks out of tens of millions of dollars while evading payment of their federal income taxes. U.S. Attorney Ryan K. Buchanan blasted in November 2022. He called their punishment a warning shot to anyone bold enough to think they could game America's banking system.
The couple, known for their show Chrisley Knows Best, were found guilty earlier this year of defrauding banks and the IRS out of millions of dollars, all to fund a lavish lifestyle.
But here's where things get messy. By September 2023, both Todd and Julie suddenly had their sentences cut. Julie's release date was shaved down by over a year, and Todd's sentence mysteriously dropped by 2 full years, moving his release up from 2035. Their lawyer, Jay Sargent, rushed to spin it. Without a doubt, Todd and Julie are model incarcerated individuals who received exorbitant sentences. He even bragged that Todd was now down to 10 years, and Julie at 5 years. The eyebrow-raising part? Critics say it smells like celebrity privilege, because when have everyday tax evaders and fraudsters ever seen their time slashed that quickly? Todd and Julie Chrisley officially reported to prison in January 2023. Todd shipped off to FCI Pensacola in Florida, while Julie was sent to a facility in Lexington, Kentucky. The reality TV power couple was instantly ripped apart, with no contact allowed between them. 6 months later, daughter Savannah revealed just how brutal the separation was. 195 days without a word to each other. "My heart is breaking. Please help to bring justice," she wrote in a teary August 2023 Instagram story.
She took on the responsibility of her younger brother and her younger sister. She ran the finances for the family. She fought to get her mother and father home every day of her life.
Still, Savannah wasn't just playing the sympathy card. She also clapped back at the internet's gossip mill. On her Unlocked podcast, she mocked rumors that Todd had let himself go in prison. Newsflash, they don't sell hair dye in commissary. His hair is gray, but honestly, I'd tell him to keep it that way. He's got a great prison barber, but behind the forced humor was a far darker reality. In a December 2023 phone interview with Cuomo, Todd painted a horrifying picture of prison life. The food is dated. It's a year past expiration. There are rats and squirrels in the storage facility. They pulled down plastic covering and black mold. Then a dead cat fell from the ceiling onto the food. If that wasn't shocking enough, Todd dropped an even bigger bombshell. Someone inside allegedly tried to extort his family. "There was a photograph taken of me while I was sleeping and sent to my daughter asking for $2,600 a month for my protection." Critics argue Todd's claims sound more like a reality TV script than prison truth, but others say it proves the Chrisleys aren't living in cushy celebrity cells at all. They're in the middle of a nightmare straight out of Oz. Savannah Chrisley, now the legal guardian of her younger siblings Grayson and Chloe, hasn't been shy about exposing just how devastating her parents' prison time has been on the family. Speaking with E! News in March 2024, she revealed a bombshell detail. The last time Todd and Julie spoke was the morning they walked into federal prison.
She lost her former fiance to a motorcycle accident. And who did she grieve to? Who was there for her to collapse to?
According to Savannah, that silence isn't by choice, it's punishment. She claimed prison officials have been retaliating against her father because of the family's public outcry over conditions, even going so far as to block his email correspondence to Julie. On her Unlocked podcast, Savannah confessed the toll it's taken on her own life. "What's tough for me is how mom and dad have that feeling that life is just continuing to move on without them. In a way, I feel that too because everyone else just goes on living while I'm still sitting here struggling to catch my breath." She admitted the weight is crushing, financially raising 2 kids, emotionally navigating her parents' absence, and even trying to manage her own relationship. Critics, however, see a different picture. Some argue Savannah is leveraging her parents' misery for sympathy and clicks, while others insist she's exposing a prison system desperate to silence high-profile inmates. Either way, the Chrisley saga has clearly shifted from reality TV entertainment into something much darker and far more polarizing.
It wants to look at our children and remember that she's this 16-year-old girl that wrecked every car that she ever...
In a shocking twist, Julie Chrisley's 7-year prison sentence was thrown out in June 2024 after a 3-judge panel with the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the trial judge botched her sentencing. While the panel didn't overturn her convictions, they did slam the 2022 court for miscalculating just how much financial damage could actually be pinned on her. The district court did not identify the evidence it relied on to hold Julie accountable for losses incurred before 2007, and we cannot independently find it in the record, the judges wrote, essentially admitting that Julie may have been over-sentenced without hard proof. With that, her prison term was vacated, and her case was sent back to a lower court to rework the numbers on loss, restitution, and forfeiture before she's officially resentenced. The ruling sparked instant backlash. Supporters cheered it as long overdue justice, while critics blasted it as celebrity privilege at its finest, arguing that everyday white-collar criminals rarely get second chances once a sentence is locked in. Meanwhile, Todd wasn't so lucky. His sentence remained untouched, leaving the family's reality TV patriarch to rot in Pensacola, while Julie's legal team fought to carve her years behind bars down.
Raised crimes. The fraud was extensive, and there was really no remorse being shown.
What we want.
3 months after her prison sentence was overturned, an Atlanta court ultimately upheld Julie's previous 7-year prison sentence. and she made a tearful apology, both to her children and the court. I would like to say I've had years to think about what I've wanted to say, and I'm sorry for my actions and situations that led us to where we are today. Julie said before the court, per people, during the September 25 hearing. I've had 20 months in prison, but it has been much more leading up to the trial, and I apologize for my actions that led to where we are today. I have done everything I can do to get closer to my family. I've taken tests for new skills, such as driving a forklift and serving food in proper ways, she continued. This has been the most difficult part of my life. I can't ever repay my children for what they've had to go through, and for that, I am so sorry, she added. But here's where the story takes a twist worthy of primetime scandal. Enter Donald Trump. The former Apprentice host turned president wasn't about to let another NBC Universal reality star rot behind bars without making it into a spectacle. On May 27, 2025, Trump picked up the phone from the Oval Office and personally called Savannah Chrisley, Todd and Julie's camera-loving daughter, to break the news that he planned to grant her parents a full presidential pardon.
Are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So wonderful. Give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards. And
the timing couldn't have been juicier. Lifetime was already cooking up the Chrisleys. Back to reality, a follow-up series set to cash in on the family's drama. Suddenly, Trump's pardon became the ultimate made-for-TV moment, if producers could just capture it in time. Behind the scenes, chaos erupted. Production had already wrapped, with only a few straggling interviews left on the schedule. Todd and Julie were serving time in different states, and the rest of the family was scattered. But Savannah, ever the opportunist, immediately rang showrunner Nicole Blay like she was breaking the news of a season finale twist.
It's hard to believe that just a month ago we were in prison. I mean, and how quickly things can turn around. Yeah. If nothing else.
We got the phone call. We knew it was going to happen within 24 hours, but you never know when. Boone and Murray's Jesse Daniels admitted to Deadline, translation. The producer smelled ratings gold, and nothing, not jail bars, not logistics, not even presidential controversy, was going to get in their way. When the pardons finally came through, it wasn't just a family reunion, it was reality TV chaos waiting to explode. Todd Chrisley walked out of a cushy minimum security camp in Pensacola, Florida, while Julie Chrisley was released from a federal medical facility in Lexington, Kentucky. Meanwhile, the rest of the Chrisley clan stayed put near Nashville, ready to milk the drama for every last camera angle.
Oh, both my parents are coming home tonight or tomorrow, and I still don't believe it's real. I'm freaking out.
Behind the curtain, producers were scrambling. Executive producer Farnaz Farjam admitted the production was in full crisis mode. Chase Chrisley hit the road with family friends to scoop up Julie, while Savannah, ever the spotlight magnet, grabbed Todd. The catch: they were filming guerrilla style, sleeping in cars, begging friends to capture shaky iPhone footage, and praying the reunion moments didn't look like a YouTube vlog gone wrong. We didn't know what we'd get, Farjam confessed. You're literally coaching people over the phone on how to hold an iPhone. Then when the footage finally came in, it was like, oh my God, this is actually good. Translation? Even in chaos, the Chrisleys still managed to deliver TV gold. But that wasn't enough. The crew quietly hired local shooters on the fly, set up cameras outside the Chrisley home, and stitched everything together into what producers are now calling an immersive experience. Immersive, or exploitative, depends on who you ask. Adding fuel to the fire, this entire circus was greenlit after a hush-hush phone call between Lifetime and Boone and Murray, the same production company behind Surviving R. Kelly. The mandate? Forget glossy perfection. They wanted the raw, messy, unfiltered Chrisleys as they clawed their way out of prison and back into public life. Now, that vision is reality. The 8-part docuseries, premiering tonight, September 1st, with a 2-night launch, promises to expose the fractured family dynamics. Savannah struggling as guardian to Chloe and Grayson, Chase juggling a failing business and a fragile relationship with girlfriend Jody, and matriarch Nanny Faye providing the comic relief no scandal can suppress. Even Julie's parents, Harvey and Pam, are stepping into the frame for the first time, because what's a comeback without a few new faces in the mix?
My grandmother was not having it. And for people that listen that know Nanny Faye, they're like, wait, they're going to be shocked. But she was not having it.
Make no mistake, this isn't just a family coming home. It's the grand finale of a 6-year white-collar crime saga being spun into primetime spectacle, and the Chrisleys are cashing in every second of it. The family has felt they have nothing to hide. That was their message to us when we first met them, that they want to open up as much as possible to the world about what they're going through, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. We were just there to document it, added Daniels. Chrisley Knows Best, which was produced by All 3 Media's Maverick Television, ran for 10 seasons on USA Network between 2014 and 2023. It was filmed in a more comedic reality series style, whereas The Chrisleys' Back to Reality blends together documentary and reality forms. This explains why Daniels, who worked on Surviving R. Kelly and the life and murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and oversees Boonam Murray's Dockside, was teamed with Farnaz Farjum, who has worked on reality series including Keeping Up with the Kardashians, The Simple Life, and Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club. From the outside looking in, Chrisley Knows Best was a very successful series that leaned more towards a sitcom style. For us, we wanted to show more of an authentic look at what they were going through. Part of that is we broke the fourth wall often. You'd hear us talking to them. The texture of the series, the fabric of the series feels a lot different than what fans are used to, said Daniels. We knew that we wanted to document them where they were in their lives today. That's that reality element. At the same time, we knew we had to catch everybody up to what has happened since they've been off the air. That was the more investigative documentary element. Producer Stephanie Faryam didn't mince words. I've worked on a lot of reality shows, and when the subject is afraid to show who they really are, it makes your job really hard. The Chrisleys aren't afraid. What you see on camera, that's who they are. And right out of the gate, Episode 1 throws viewers into chaos. With Todd and Julie still locked up, the fractured family sits down for their first dinner together in ages, and the cracks are impossible to ignore. Episode 1 sets the table. Executive producer John Daniels explained, the family is divided. Without the patriarch and matriarch, it's kids and grandparents struggling to fill the void. There's friction everywhere. Everyone's trying to figure out who they are. Then, just when they think prison is their new normal, that phone call happens. But the show doesn't just serve up family drama. It wades straight into politics. Savannah Chrisley, rarely seen without her MAGA hat, even spoke at the 2024 Republican National Convention, telling the crowd her family was persecuted by rogue prosecutors in Fulton County. She bragged that a prosecutor once sneered, "You're the Trumps of the South," and proudly declared, "I wear it as a badge of honor." Of course, that so-called persecution was a jury-backed conviction for bank fraud and tax evasion to the tune of $30 million. The Department of Justice has made it clear, a pardon doesn't erase guilt. As FBI Special Agent Carrie Farley said in 2022, when you lie, cheat, and steal, justice is blind as to your fame, your fortune, and your position.
The FBI read off a letter Lindsay wrote to them in court. So, yes, she's correct. I didn't want her.
But thanks to Trump's pardon czar Alice Marie Johnson, the Chrisleys walked free, branded not as fraudsters, but as victims of a weaponized justice system. Todd, predictably, maintains his innocence. "I would have remorse if it was something I did." And in true reality TV fashion, he teases, the truth will come out, though no such evidence has ever surfaced. Producers insist they played it safe, letting Todd say his truth without endorsing it. "We didn't take a political stance," Farjum claimed. Yet with Savannah's MAGA theatrics front and center, neutrality feels like a stretch. The emotional hook comes from Savannah herself, who at just 25 was thrust into a parental role. "She had to start adulting real quick," Daniels said. "That's a storyline anyone can relate to." But here's the rub. While audiences might sympathize with kids missing their parents, the shadow of fraud, politics, and privilege looms over every frame. This isn't just another reality series. It's a public rebranding campaign masquerading as family drama. The series also seemed to highlight some other challenges the family had faced. Lindsay Chrisley, their eldest daughter, was largely estranged from the rest of the family.
Privately let the message get to us that she did not want us present at the hearing.
Savannah Chrisley.
Lindsay, who went by Lindsay Landsman, had contacted Georgia's Department of Revenue and the FBI after her father's indictment, even filing for a restraining order against him. She told the FBI that her father had been attempting to exploit her. She had previously claimed that Todd threatened to leak her if she didn't lie for him in court. The prosecutors read the letter Lindsay wrote to the FBI, Savannah said in the series. We were no longer family, Chase added. If your blood will screw you over, then a stranger definitely will. It wasn't the only bombshell allegation against Todd Chrisley. Mark Braddock, who worked for Todd's foreclosure management company, Chrisley Asset Management, testified during the couple's fraud trial that Todd had cheated on Julie with him and that they had been blackmailed to keep it secret. Braddock testified that they were intimate for about a year in the early 2000s. Todd Chrisley had commented on the allegations before. What insulted me the most is that, out of all these 54 years, for me to finally be accused of being with a man, it would be someone who looked like Mark Braddock, he said on the Chrisley Confessions podcast. These allegations appeared on screen in the trailer for the show, though it was unclear whether they were explored in depth.
One of the most entertaining things I've seen is Todd, you telling the story of your former partner saying that y'all had a relationship.
What was clear was that there was plenty more television to be made with the Chrisleys. I did feel like there was still more of a story to tell with them. I did feel like they were very watchable. Not everyone's watchable, but their dynamic was watchable, Farjum said. If Boonem/Murray hadn't made another season for Lifetime, other networks and production companies would have been lining up for the job. In fact, before Boonem/Murray got involved, Scout Productions had already been working with the family on a series. What I found interesting, and what we definitely touched on in the series with plenty of room to dig deeper, was that Todd and Julie spent a lot of time in prison, and you don't come home from that the same person, Daniel said. That was something they themselves had to grapple with, along with their family members. We explored that in this series, and I certainly saw it as something worth exploring further. The Chrisleys had always sold themselves as TV's picture-perfect Southern family, but when their empire collapsed, it wasn't just prosecutors who turned the tide. It was Todd's own confidant. Enter Mark Braddock, the one-time right-hand man who morphed into the government's star witness and, according to him, Todd's secret gay lover.
Why are we talking about how I look? Why are we not talking about what I went through? All the people that's there that's still going through this today.
At 58, Braddock has pivoted back into real estate, scrubbing his LinkedIn clean and presenting himself as a seasoned professional with over 2 decades of experience. But his past isn't exactly a resume booster. It's tabloid gold. In court, Braddock painted a sordid picture of his relationship with Todd Chrisley. He claimed the two had an affair in the early 2000s, one that fizzled into a so-called brotherhood before exploding in 2012 when Todd allegedly threatened to call the police on him. Braddock also admitted to being neck-deep in Todd's dirty money moves, helping commit financial crimes before flipping on him to secure immunity. The result? Braddock didn't just testify, he detonated. His accusations cut right through Todd's reality TV brand, the wholesome church-going father of 5 who preached family values on Chrisley Knows Best. Suddenly, audiences were confronted with a very different Todd, a man accused of sleeping with his business partner while simultaneously swindling banks out of millions. Todd predictably went into full damage control mode. On his Chrisley Confessions podcast, he lashed out at Braddock, mocking his looks and sneering that the most insulting part of the allegations wasn't being accused of having an affair with a man, but with that man. He called Braddock a toad and a thumb, cracking crude jokes about his supposed S-Ule appeal. His son Chase even laughed along as Todd bragged about women being DK-notized by him. But
I'm not saying you a hoe.
That's what you said.
I'm saying you.
Trust me, I am a hoe.
I'm saying you exhibit hoe behavior.
But here's the catch. Todd never actually disproved Braddock's claims. He denied them, yes, but the more he joked, the more people wondered if his over-the-top defensiveness was hiding a deeper truth. And while Todd worked overtime to project confidence, Braddock's testimony became the final nail in the coffin of the Chrisleys' carefully manicured family man image. Now Braddock has rebranded himself as just another real estate advisor, quietly moving forward while Todd and Julie remain forever tied to scandal. Yet the irony isn't lost on anyone. The man who helped build the Chrisleys' empire is also the man who burned it to the ground. And here's where the controversy really kicks in. Was Braddock a truth teller seeking justice, or a bitter ex-lover who cashed in by flipping on Todd at the perfect moment? Prosecutors granted him immunity, meaning he walked away scot-free while the Chrisleys were left to rot in prison. For some, that makes Braddock the hero of this saga. For others, it makes him the ultimate traitor.
Mark knew what my marriage meant to me. He knew what my children meant to me. This is someone who literally was in our will if something happened to me and Julie in a
Either way, one thing's clear. Mark Braddock will always be remembered not for his real estate deals, but as the man who exposed Todd Chrisley's deepest secrets and left America forever questioning whether the perfect Christian dad persona was nothing more than a carefully staged performance. Mark Braddock wasn't just Todd Chrisley's business partner, he was the man who turned his world upside down. At trial, Braddock claimed their working relationship quickly slipped into something far more scandalous. According to him, the two carried on a secret affair that lasted about a year, all while Todd was married to Julie and Mark was married to his wife, Leslie. But here's the twist. Even after the romance allegedly fizzled out, the pair kept working side by side for nearly a decade, building the Chrisley empire like nothing had ever happened. They called it a brotherhood. But by 2012, that so-called brotherhood went up in flames. The breaking point? A vicious argument in which Todd allegedly threw Braddock out of his office and threatened to call the cops. Humiliated and furious, Braddock flipped. He walked straight into the arms of the FBI and blew the whistle on the Chrisleys' alleged tax fraud and financial crimes, a betrayal that would later shatter the family's reality TV dynasty.
Found that out, and what the world doesn't know is that I slapped the shit out of him right there in the office in front of my attorneys when all this stuff was brought out that he had done.
Behind the courtroom drama, though, was an equally messy personal story. Braddock admitted he had hidden the affair from his wife, Leslie, for decades. Married since 1987 and parents of 2 sons, Mark and Leslie's marriage should have been a suburban success story. Instead, it became collateral damage in the Chrisley scandal. Before testifying, Braddock finally came clean to Leslie about his alleged relationship with Todd. Shockingly, according to Media Takeout, she stood by him, even forgiving the affair. Whether it was loyalty, denial, or strategy, Leslie didn't walk away. Together, they remained a united front, even as Mark's testimony turned him into the most infamous other man in reality TV history. Their 2 grown sons, Ian and Colin, have mostly avoided the spotlight, though Ian is married with children of his own. For them, their father's name will forever be tied not just to real estate deals, but to scandalous courtroom confessions that painted him as both a lover and a betrayer. What makes Braddock's story even more controversial is how much he risked and how much he gained. In court, he revealed that while working alongside Todd at Executive Asset Management, he was blackmailed by people who claimed to know about the affair. Rather than fold, Braddock doubled down, later testifying against Todd in exchange for immunity. He admitted to helping commit fraud but walked away untouched while Todd and Julie were left to face the prison sentences.
You need not forget that. So I have fought my way to get where I am. And so when you come at me with some sideways bull, I will meet you there.
And that's where the questions swirl. Was Braddock a whistleblower exposing corruption or a man settling scores with a former lover who cut him off? Did he truly act out of conscience, or did he cash in on the perfect opportunity to destroy Todd Chrisley when the relationship turned sour? Either way, the irony is impossible to ignore. Todd once trusted Mark as his right-hand man. Now, history will remember him as the ultimate betrayer, the man who not only claimed to share Todd's bed, but also handed him over to the feds. Following their highly publicized release, Todd and Julie Chrisley wasted no time sliding back into their lavish new normal. Cameras were rolling, press microphones were shoved in their faces, and the couple leaned into their redemption arc as if it were scripted. Because, let's be honest, it probably was. Both admitted prison changed them, but their polished sound bites raised eyebrows. On My View with Lara Trump in June 2025, Todd declared, "We have changed, and if we did not change in these 28 months, it would have been wasted." The timing and the choice of platform didn't go unnoticed. Todd wasn't talking to Barbara Walters or CNN. He was cozying up with Trump family media, the very circle that delivered him a presidential pardon. At a May 2025 press conference, Todd doubled down on his fresh out of prison gratitude tour. "I woke up the first morning and I was looking around. I'm like, this is really real. I'm home," he told reporters. He painted a hallmark moment of family prayers and shared meals, insisting, "We're still in the fight together." But here's the controversial part. Todd and Julie weren't supposed to be home yet. Their early release was nothing short of political theater, engineered in the middle of an election season. While ordinary inmates serve every brutal day of their sentence, the Chrisleys walked out early. Cameras ready, their comeback series already in production. So were these heartfelt statements the reflections of a couple forever humbled by prison, or carefully rehearsed lines in the latest chapter of the Chrisley reality show? And so, after prison, after the scandals, and after the carefully staged family reunion, one question still hangs in the air like smoke after a fire. What's really real with Todd Chrisley? Because let's not forget, this is the same man accused of having a secret gay affair with his own business partner, the same man whose so-called brotherhood ended in FBI indictments, and the same man who stood on trial while his lover-turned-enemy aired his dirty laundry for the world to hear. And now, suddenly, Todd is home early, smiling for cameras, thanking God and selling America the story of a changed man? Please. The timing doesn't add up. The politics don't add up. And the whispers inside Nashville and Hollywood are growing louder. Was Todd Chrisley's early release less about good behavior and more about the kind of connections money and power can buy? The Trump interviews, the comeback show negotiations, the shiny family image, it all feels less like redemption and more like rebranding. And here's the kicker. Those rumors about Todd's secret life, the ones he spent years dodging, aren't going away. If anything, they're louder now than ever. The alleged affair with Braddock was just the tip of the iceberg, and insiders swear there's more. More names, more receipts, more skeletons waiting to crawl out. So, was prison really Todd's wake-up call? Or just another plot twist in the never-ending Chrisley reality show? If the past has taught us anything, it's that with Todd Chrisley, the truth is never simple. It's suspicious, it's scandalous, and it's always one step away from blowing up all over again. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.